So now that I've given away it's not a secret. Now that I've given away our hardware for 225, what will we use as the software? Just a real quick word on software. We are going to look more into this. Is actually one of the things that I think the short course on digital photography textbook does a really great job of is provide everybody with kind of honestly a historical like journey through how editing software has progressed, the tools that were available. And I am casting this were available net way back 15, 20, 25 years. The tools that were available all the way back when the individual whose name escapes me that wrote the short course in digital photography book was starting out. Those tools are available now. It's just that we have democratized them. We have lowered the requirement for the hardware, and we have made them all easier to use for individuals who are learning the process, as opposed to essentially gatekeeping them behind a bunch of, frankly, more than introductory level exposure that people would need. So certainly we are going to get the more than introductory level exposure that we are going to need to be able to follow through with that software. But the requirements have really come down, 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 down. The hardware that you need to run those software have come down, 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 so that literally virtually everybody has access to all of those tools. So it does make using software for a course like this easier. Now, we will cover this in session 2 and 3 as we progress further into the editing portions of the editing portions for the course. But as we go through, we will see that there are reasons that we would use more expensive paid for subscription software. I'm looking at you, Adobe. So think about things like Lightroom. Lightroom would be an absolutely industry standard piece of software. However, we can use Darktable, which is a pretty much an equivalent of that. That's also free. When we're taking our pictures, yes, it's true. I could recommend, and we'll talk about it when we get there, we could recommend different pieces of software that will help you better really dial in your photos so that you don't have to do as much work in post, or so that you actually can do work in post and recover all the detail, all the shadows, all the the dynamic range and the contrast that we're looking for in a good photo. We can do all of that with software that doesn't cost anything. We will use Blackmagic Camera because it's something we can do to take both images and videos, and it's free and available on Android and iOS. So that way we only have to support one piece of software, and that turns out to work really great for everybody. When it comes to the storage and management, rather than go buy extra storage and management software, we're going to use OneNote. We're going to use OneDrive in order to be able to do that. In order to edit our videos, rather than go to Adobe Premiere, which is wonderful, by the way, but it costs hundreds of dollars a year. Rather than go to Premiere, we will see free alternatives that we can use in CapCut and DaVinci Resolve. And if you really wanted to, iMovie or CapCut, or there's hundreds of solutions that we can use. So in the very same way that I do not want additional cost to come to you, the student, via the hardware, I do not want additional cost to come to you, the student, in the way of software. So very, very probably, um, irrespective of the phone that you are using in order to capture the images, we are going to be able to run the software that we are going to need. My goal here is to reduce the barriers to entry, so that later on, when you have potentially made the decision to really embrace digital photography as some portion of a career, what you'll be able to do is expand on the things that you've already seen on the hardware that you're already familiar with, your phone, to expand on the things that you've already seen in the software that you're familiar with, and then apply it to more, or different anyway, different and potentially more professional softwares and professional hardwares that either somebody else is paying for or that somebody is paying you to be able to afford. So free, 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 and yet still highly capable.